and welcome to this SUSECON Digital 21 session. This is titled Integrate Your Ansible System into SUSE Manager for the TUT. My name is Pablo Suarez Hernandez. I'm a senior software engineer at SUSE. Particularly, I work on the SUSE Manager team, acting also as an ION squad coordinator. We are taking care of all the different Python components that make SUSE Manager, which are Salt, Spacewap Backend, Cobbler, now Ansible as well. We are a maintainer of the Salt packages, SUSE Linux Enterprise, and also for OpenSUSE. And you can find my GitHub account there. So, the agenda for this session, we will start asking ourselves why we should integrate Ansible in for the TUT. We will then see how you can register your Ansible control node with SUSE Manager, discovering your Ansible inventories and playbooks from your control node, and then running Ansible playbooks using SUSE Manager. We will see a live demo, and then we will continue and finish in the session looking at the next step ahead that we have in the roadmap. So first thing, why Ansible in SUSE Manager for the TUT? You know, people are running Ansible out there. Some customer has already their IT infrastructure being managed by Ansible. We cannot tell them, okay, let's go with SUSE Manager, but you have to throw everything that you have done on Ansible out, and then you need to start working everything and start everything from scratch using SUSE Manager and Salt. That's a no-go. Customer has already invested a lot of time and efforts into creating those playbooks to manage their infrastructure. They might be even running security audit for those playbooks. So telling them to start from scratch is a no-go. Of course, there are a lot of modules and playbooks resources all over the place that we would like to allow to reuse using SUSE Manager. I tell you, usually Ansible customers and users face similar problems, like, for example, real-time monitoring. There is no easy way. This is SSH, so there is no easy way that a managed client can trigger some event back to our master, right? Our control node. Same for event-driven orchestration. We don't have a way to react to events, you know? And then this is SSH. So there are also problems around scalability over SSH. And of course, in case that you are not using Tower or AWS, you don't have any UI or API that you can also use for managing your Ansible. And this is how SUSE Manager and Salt could help you to solve this situation. So as you know, Salt comes with beacons. Beacons are events that are triggered in any time to certain conditions on a Salt minion, and it would fire an event that would reach the master. So we can do event-driven orchestration with the reactor. Reactors are components on the Salt master that reacts to different events that comes from the minion. So we can react to those events and ask Salt for performing certain actions or applying whatever step. Then for scalability, Salt does not use SSH. It uses 0NQ, which is much faster and scales way bigger than SSH. And we have also the hub. Hub is a SUSE Manager component that will allow you to aggregate different SUSE Manager servers, therefore Salt masters. And of course, we provide the UI and API of SUSE Manager. So you have a UI where you can see all your infrastructure and you can operate it in an easy way from a UI and ASP. So what's new in SUSE Manager for the TUT on this regard? So we have introduced this initial integration with Ansible, technology previewing for the TUT. Now Ansible is part of the SLE 15 client tools, version 2.9.21. This means that we can run now Ansible on SLE 15 clients. Then we will allow to register your Ansible control nodes that are running Ansible 2.9, and will allow you to operate it. You can see and display the inventories, discover the playbooks that are within those control nodes. And then you can, of course, that's very important, reuse the playbooks that you have there and run them using SUSE Manager. We will have a new UI that will allow you to do these operations, the Ansible control node, and also important, we are introducing Xmlrpc Api Endpoints for each one of the features that we have implemented and the new operation that we have implemented for Ansible. So anything that you can do in the UI for operating your Ansible control node, you have an Xmlrpc endpoint, so you can do it via API as well. And again, this has been a long time requested feature from not only from customers, but also from community. They wanted SUSE Manager to have a way they can apply playbooks and operate Ansible using SUSE Manager itself. So, how to register your Ansible control node with SUSE Manager? The first thing we need is to register the system as a minion. So in this case, we are doing this demo using as an Ansible control node. This is Li15SP3. So this is our Ansible control node. First thing we need to do is to register it as a normal salt client. That's it, we have it, cool. Next step, we need to go to system properties, and you would see that we have added a new system type, which is Ansible control node. In a similar way as we do for containers, monitoring, etc. You can now click and specify that we want this to be an Ansible control, or actually to specify that this is an Ansible control. Once you do that, you would see that there is a new Ansible page here for this system. This page is only appearing when we have set the property of the Ansible control node, right? And it brings you to this first page, which is control node configuration. Here is where you can define the path on your Ansible control node, where your playbooks are located, the different inventories that you have defined, as we will see in a moment. So, discovering Ansible inventories and playbooks from your Ansible control node. This UI would basically allow you to introduce paths. These paths are from the control node, so in this case from this client. So I'm configuring here to SUSE Manager and telling SUSE Manager that playbooks directories or playbooks are stored in this directory. I can add more than one path here, any path as I want. And the same works for the inventories. I can specify different inventories that I have in my control node, and that would allow the SUSE Manager to know where it should look when we explore the next page. And specify different, and same for inventories. Okay, let's take a look at inventory. So when I go to inventories page, you would see the different inventories that we define in the control node configuration. You would see the raw inventory, let's say here, as it is reported by Ansible, and you would see which systems from that inventory are actually registered in SUSE Manager already. Like these two here, and this other one, which is an external host listed on the Ansible inventory, but we don't have it yet registered in SUSE Manager. Okay, let's take a look at the playbooks now and try to run it. So in the same way, when we go to playbooks, we would see all the different paths that we configured for this control node. If we click on one of them, it would expand and you would see the different playbooks that were found there. In this case, we see that SRB playbook contains this one, Orion Dummy, Playbook Orion Dummy, which, well, have the full path. An important thing here, custom inventory. As you know, we may have playbooks that contains custom inventory. So this discovery mechanism would try to see if there are also host files there together with inventory, and it would expose it here, beside of the inventories that you have planned as your, let's say, general inventory. So once we see a playbook that we want to trigger, we can click on it, and it will bring us to the playbook detail page. As you see here, we have the playbook content, and it would allow you to schedule the execution and also to select the inventory path that we want to use for applying this inventory. We can use, of course, the general ones, or we can use the custom one that get it together with inventory in this case, with the playbook. Exactly as you see here. This is the etc Ansible host. Is the one that we have defined here as a main inventory, and this other one is the custom inventory that is provided together with the inventory. And click and select which one I want to use when applying and running this playbook. And then, once the action is triggered, we will see it as in the event history for this system, and you would see here an example of the output that we get. This is a salt output, but in the end, the return that we have is about Ansible being applied, Ansible playbook being applied. We will see this better in the live. So let's go for it. So what I have here is exactly those three systems. In this case, I have RB playbooks where I have few things. So let me just go first to my SUSE Manager environment here. We have our Ansible. This is the system that I'm using as an Ansible control node. I haven't yet configured it, so let's just start from the scratch. First thing I'm doing is to go to Properties. I will click on Ansible control node and I will update. It will tell me that I need to apply the high state. This is a recommended action, so it would ensure that Ansible is actually installed, which it is. In any case, if it's not installed, it would install it from the C15 client tool. Schedule the high state. It's still running. Yeah, and by the way, as you saw already, there is the Ansible page that already appears. Okay, everything is good. Go. Ansible, control node. This is the page. Nothing is configured yet, so we need to specify the path. This is RB playbooks, for example, where I have my playbook stored on this system. Okay, and as an example, also let's go with the Ansible host, which is the main inventory. Right, configured. Let's go to the inventory. If I click here, I would see, yeah, the inventory, as I mentioned, the raw, the systems that are already registered, and external. And let's go with doing the demo about running a playbook. Playbook is the same. I click on here, I get the different playbooks that are under this path. It explores and looks for the playbooks that are the YAML files that are directly on this path, and also in the first level of directories that are there. So for example, I have this one for the SUSECON demo. This one is a really easy one. It just goes to the web service CentOS and install Apache and deploys all. I want to apply this, run this playbook just now, and I want to use this particular custom inventory where I have defined my web server CentOS group. Okay, let's go to schedule. In schedule, let's go to the event history. We see here schedule playbook execution. It would take us some seconds until the action is picked up by SUSE Manager, and then it will hopefully, we see it's now being picked up. It's running. If we go to our VM monitor, we see this is the server, this is our control node, and we see that now one of those hosts is also being reached, and there is an activity there. Let's just wait till we have the playbook finished and hopefully succeeded. We have it there, green. If we go here, we can see the output. In this case, I installed Apache and deployed some file. Let's just go if Apache is now working. Okay. This HTTP server has been deployed using Ansible and SUSE Manager for the 2. This is what the Playbook was doing. So yeah, that's it. That's more or less the demo I wanted to do. So you have an idea how we are operating with this. We can, of course, let's just give you another example. SRB for more complex playbooks. SRB, I have some others here in Ansible examples. I remember correctly. I can go here. Yeah. These are coming from the Ansible example GitHub repository. Yeah, I can, for example, let me take a look. I think there was a lamp simple. Yeah, this one, for example. As you see, this is the content. We are using roles here. And it would work. As an inventory, I'm using, this is for web service. I think I can use my main one. Find the web service and database service group. Let's see. The action was scheduled, is running, something is going on, and it was a LAMP deployment, so it uses HTTP and a database host. So 2 hosts in this case. We see they are running CentOS 7 and CentOS 7 v2. It would take some time. I'm not sure if it would succeed or not. We will see. Just a second. Okay, it failed. Well, that's expected. It tries to do something on the external host. It was not existing, so I get this error here. And then also tells me that, yeah, it tries to copy some stuff, but there are already modifications, so it cannot run. But in the end, you see this is an output for the HTML execution that we get as a result of executing the action. So that's basic. Okay, that's enough for the demo. So now for finishing, let's take a look at the next step we have ahead in our roadmap for Ansible. So of course, we want to continue with the UI UX improvement. There is still a lot to do on this UI, which is not yet very mature. Then we want to go by better parsing the inventories and playbooks. We were showing the raw inventory and also the content of the playbook, but we can also improve this, get also the groups definition, looking at the bars, and expose all of that to the UI. Then we want to also provide an easy bootstrapping of the Ansible managed client. So if you remember, I had an external host which was not yet registered into SUSE Manager. It was managed by Ansible, but not yet registered into SUSE Manager. So we want to provide an easy way so you can click and just trigger the bootstrapping of that system into SUSE Manager. The system is already being managed by Ansible, so it's just to tell the Ansible to go there and trigger the bootstrapping, so we get the system fully registered in the manager. All right. Next steps are playbooks with forms. This is an idea. So what we want to allow basically is that you can inject variables when running the playbooks. So as you know, we have formulas with forms, which in the end is a similar approach in the solve world. So we have the solve formula, the solve formula, and we basically render some forms in the SUSE Manager UI, so you can fill all the data that is needed for the different variables that you need for applying the formula. So in this case, we want to research and go with something similar, but for the playbooks, a way that you can introduce the variable content that are going to be injected into the playbooks. And then supporting Ansible 2.10. So we are supporting 2.9 because it's LTS currently. But yeah, at some point we need to start working on the support for the new Ansible. So, final notes and key points. As a reminder, Ansible controls the SUSE Manager. SUSE Manager, it's configured. We are not creating the inventories yet. We are not pushing any configuration to the Ansible control node, to the Ansible configuration in the control node. SUSE Manager is simply extracting the information, and it allows you to operate it, trigger action, but it's not configuring it. So Ansible inventories are not yet created by SUSE Manager. It will come at some point, but it currently uses the existing inventories that are in the Ansible control node. This feature is not supported for traditional client, only for salt minions, and we have no plans for bringing this to the traditional client. And as I mentioned, the current version that we are supporting is 2.9 branch, which is the LTS version of Ansible at the moment. As soon as 2.10 would be LTS or whatever, then we will switch. And mentioned at the beginning, Ansible is now available in the SLE 15 client tool. This means that you can use SLE as your Ansible control node. All right. So that's basically what I have for you today. I hope you have now a better view of what we are bringing on this first iteration of the Ansible integration in SUSE Manager, what you can do, what you cannot do yet. And of course, if you have any question, then feel free to reach me and write that, and I will be more than happy on answering you and solve your question. So, thank you very much, and enjoy SUSECON Digital.